been taking any...
I put locks on my doors. People hauled in just last week.
I don't know, I have a gun, but I still don't feel safe being, at home alone.
The original Night Stalker, also known as the East Area Rapist and as the Golden State Killer, has been caught by the FBI. The case gained recent exposure due to the investigative book written by Patton Oswalt's late wife, Michelle McNamara, whose research and diligent investigative efforts were carried out past her death and led to this historic arrest. For those unfamiliar with the case, a link in the below description is provided to our original video on this topic. Here is a brief breakdown of the case. The East Area Rapist's first known attack occurred in 1976, when he broke into a young mother's home while her 3-year-old was in the room. Both her and her child's lives were threatened, and she was sexually assaulted. The East Area Rapist's modus operandi was to shine a bright flashlight into victims' faces and then use a large butcher knife to subdue them, before binding their hands and sexually assaulting them. While the East Area Rapist began targeting single women who lived alone or had only children in the home, he subsequently began killing couples. The East Area Rapist's first known homicide was in 1978, when he was seemingly spotted by a couple out walking their dog. This would mark the transition from rapist to killer, and also signal the change from targeting the Contra Costa County and East Sacramento areas to the Santa Barbara and Southern California areas, where he would gain the name of the original Night Stalker as he reigned terror from 1979 until 1986. 20 years after dropping off the map, in 2016, a $50,000 reward was offered for any information that would lead to the arrest of this so-called Golden State Killer. As law enforcement had the DNA, they just needed a name. And now they have one. 72-year-old Joseph James D'Angelo has been identified through DNA as being the East Area Rapist / Golden State Killer / original Night Stalker. Even more shocking than his arrest is his former occupation. D'Angelo used to be a police officer. He worked from 1973 to 1976 as an officer in Exeter and for the Auburn PD from 1976 to 1979. After getting caught shoplifting, he was fired as a police officer in 1989, 3 years after the East Area attacks began. It would only be after his dismissal from the force that he would become exclusively a killer, thus gaining the name the Golden State Killer. Police say that he is talking to officers and has confirmed to them that he is also the Visalia ransacker, named for a string of break-ins in the Visalia, California area. Before today's press conference, police made personal contact with all of the East Area Rapist's original victims, informing them of this historic update. One of the many notable pieces of information was that victim number 36 had informed investigators that the East Area Rapist lay down on her pillow after raping her and began to sob. He sobbed and said, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, Bonnie." She was never sure if it was the name Bonnie that was uttered, but with the new information of D'Angelo's past, it has been confirmed that he had had an ex-fiancée by the name of Bonnie. Preliminary Facebook identification shows Bonnie as being married to the same man since the early 70s. More pieces fall into place as it is uncovered that D'Angelo's prior shoplifting arrest, which led to him being fired as a policeman, was for the crime of stealing a hammer and dog repellent. Police were always confused why the victims who had dogs were attacked without the dogs intervening or posing as a deterrent. This would also explain why many victims told police of the terrible smell emanating from their attacker, as dog repellent has a distinctive scent, usually made with ammonia or vinegar. Another piece of evidence that becomes explained with a name is that D'Angelo's daughter was born during the same period that California experienced a pause in the attacks. This corroborates the statement of a victim who, in 1991, says she was called by her attacker and she could hear the voices of a woman and child in the background, which led investigators at the time to believe he may have started a family. Additionally, many victims commented on the strangeness of their attackers' shaved legs. D'Angelo used to be in a diving club, and divers shaved their legs to prevent water drag. A chilling connection that has been made among internet sleuths is the killer may have been present as a police officer during a community town hall meeting. In 1976, a man stood up in a community meeting and said he would never let a man rape his wife like the other men did. 7 months later, that same man was tied up and forced to view the same type of attack on his wife, of which he had so strongly spoken out against. After this shockingly specific attack, investigators concluded that this man could only be known to someone in attendance at the town hall meeting. This new revelation that D'Angelo is a police officer bolsters the idea, as police officers were often present at these types of community meetings. More information will be released in the coming days.